everyone, Michael Drummond with Fat Guys Media. I'm coming to you today because I recorded this video about a week and a half ago, but after some stuff that happened this last week, I feel it's even a bigger issue. So, as we all know, a few weeks ago in California, there was a driver attacked by a Taco Bell executive, yada, 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 big deal. The guy, he had his dash camera on in his car, and he was able to film when he was assaulted. I loaded a camera in my car months ago. I did start to find that my rating started to drop because I had the camera in the car. People kind of felt uncomfortable with it. But after the guy received the beating in California, my wife was like, "You're going to put your camera back in your car. I don't care what happens. Just go ahead and put it back in your car." Well, luckily, the story received enough national news that enough people saw it that now when people see a camera in your car, instead of them complaining about it, they're telling you how smart you are to protect yourself, to protect your car, just the legal ramifications from it. Here in Oklahoma, where I live, Oklahoma is a single consent state. So therefore, as soon as someone steps into my car, I am allowed to videotape them, audio record them, whatever, because they're in my property and my vehicle. So this last week, some pretty incredible things happened. I had probably one of the best rides of my entire life. And it was unfortunate for my rider, but they got in the car. One of their friends who was pretty inebriated, this was the night before Thanksgiving, he got in the car, he had punched in the address, and when I picked him up, I said, their address came through, and I said, "All right, here we go," and we started the trip. Well, needless to say, 25 minutes into the trip, we found that the friend had typed in the completely wrong address. He put them about 30 miles away from where they were supposed to be. Now, granted, you would have thought under normal circumstances, somebody said, "Where are we going?" No, they didn't realize this till we were about 3 minutes from dropping them off, and we found that he typed in a west instead of east. So basically, their trip was about 52 miles, and it lasted about an hour, which resulted in a very high, at 3.6 times the normal rate, surge fee. And luckily, because I kept a dash cam in my car, I had everything recorded. They admitted full fault to what had happened and said it wasn't my fault. At the end of the ride, they actually invited me inside to come have pizza with them. I graciously declined because the next morning was Thanksgiving. Now, does this happen all the time? Is it needed? No. But another gentleman in our group was on a rideshare ride on Thanksgiving Day, and he had a good surge ride, and he was excited about it. But 2 days later, he came back to find the people had called in and complained, and Uber had removed all of his surge fee. So he went from in a 3-digit surge down to a pretty normal, just regular $32 ride. I think if he had had a dash cam in his car, that he might have been able to save that ride. He's still trying to fight it out with Uber, but I think had he been able to show on footage what happened, that this would not have been an issue. When my ride happened, I immediately went home. It was my last ride of the night. I pulled the footage off the camera. I cut it down into the parts that needed to be shown, and I sent my trouble ticket into Uber, as well as a Dropbox link to the video that I had created from my camera. Within 24 hours, I had a response back from Uber saying they had received everything, that everything was on file, and because of what I was able to prove, and typically what they don't, apply until the day before we get paid, they went ahead and applied the fee, and I received the monies. So I want to show you what I use, and I use a GoPro Hero 3 Black. It is capable of shooting 4K video as well as 1080p, 60 frames per second. It also can do 720. It's really a sports action camera, and it is a great little camera because when I put it up in the window of my Suburban, one, it has a little red light and blue light that blinks because it's controlled via Wi-Fi. It's also blinks red to let people know they're on camera. I find that people who know they're on camera, especially when they're drunk and they're younger and they don't really have a lot of feelings about what's going on in life yet, people who know they're on camera tend to act better. And unfortunately, it's a form of police state in my Suburban, but it's what's going to happen because I've had many less arguments with people, especially when they're drunk and if they're acting unruly. I have proof in case something needs to happen that I can hand to the police and say, this is what happened in my car. I like the GoPro. It's tiny. It does have a little case that it fits in and it clamps on. I use a suction cup mount that either will go up on my windshield or it will suction cup to my dash. And I've stopped taking it off up top because I just didn't care for the angle, and I put it down on my dashboard because I think what it can see is better from there. It is a action cam, so it does not have infrared, but I have found that I don't need anything unless if something starts to happen in my car. The first thing I do is I have a button on the dash of my Suburban that I hit and it turns all the lights on in the car and I can catch what I need to happen. If I hear someone starting to get sick, I will turn it on and film it. It still has the audio so you can hear everything that's going on. And to me, that's the biggest thing, is that the audio is heard and people are recorded in what they're doing. I bought this one for $3.99 at Best Buy. I actually have many of these because if you didn't know, I am in a media position. So I have quite a few of these that I can, if I wanted to, put around the entire Suburban and record every inch of the Suburban. I'm more afraid of somebody grabbing one and walking away with it because they are expensive. GoPros start at $199 and they'll work their way up to $399. They have a few different options now. The latest GoPro that's out is a GoPro 4, and they have the 4 Black, and it is the flagship camera that they have. It is a Pro line sports camera, and I'm sure you're like, well, I don't want to spend $399. Well, there are many different things you can do with this, and it is a camera that you can use for many things. I have a chest mount, I have a head mount, I have all different kinds that you can attach to things, sides of cars, all kinds of stuff. It's really fun. I have kids, so we do a lot of playing with this in the spring, like going to pools and splash pads, and they love to watch the video back later. That being said, it's small, it's compact, it sits back, it's hardly noticeable. You can turn the lights off so people don't even see the camera, but I find that when people know, like I said, when they know they're on camera, they typically act a lot better. It does have a USB power available to it, so if you have an adapter, you can plug it in, run the wire however you need to so you don't have wires hanging everywhere, and you can plug it in so it stays powered all the time. If you don't want to go that route, on its battery at 1080p, it will record for about 2.5 hours. I don't record constantly, so I only start the recorder every time I start a trip. They have an additional battery that you can buy that will add another 1.5 hours, almost 2 hours to it. So in theory, you could record for about 4 hours on one charge. Again, I go ahead and I plug it in. I'm able to, it turned on with the battery. I'm able to go ahead and keep it plugged in and keep the wires out of the way. Now, that is one option. The second option, and this is from my friends at Sony. I have connections at Sony Electronics, and they gave me a few of the Sony Action Cam to try out. I like the camera. It does really well video-wise. The only problem I have with it is it loads in a shotgun pattern. So you can see how much longer it is versus the GoPro. This is forward-facing, and this is forward-facing with the Action Cam. It has many great features to it. There's a GPS enabled tracker that you could use on your phone and with the device, and then overlay on top of any video that you might have to show where an incident might have happened. It does not have a night vision either. Neither of these cameras come with night vision, so it's not a deal breaker for me. Some of you it might be, but unless your camera has a really good optics and at night, the video is not very clear anyway. So I like this camera. It works really well, but for me in the Suburban, there's not a I don't like to change out batteries. And for power options with this, you'd have to keep a couple extra batteries. It too lasts about 2 hours, 2.5 hours on a charge. But I mean, again, I don't want to be going down the road right as something happens and the battery dies and I don't catch what's happening. This camera shoots in 4K. This is their top of the line Sony 4K action cam. They have 3 different models. Here's one in one of their water cases. This case is meant for if you're diving, that you could use it that way. This shoots in 1080p. There's a third as well. It doesn't have quite the same specs as it does. It'd be more the entry line for about $199. This one's about $299, and this one is $399 again. I definitely have to say that the action cam, the GoPro that I have, saved me this last week, because those people could have easily gone back and said, oh, well, the driver took us on a ride. Well, I had it on footage where they said it was not my fault, their friend made the mistake, and therefore that was their responsibility. I'm not saying that, you know when a ride goes wrong, and you know when something's not right, and you probably are expecting anything you can prove to be able to come back and say, look, I did nothing wrong, here's the footage, look at it for yourself, and Uber has nothing to argue against. Uber does not say we cannot have cams in our car, and after the beating the driver took, I don't think they'd ever say anything about it. But you definitely need to be protected. And this just offers another level of protection for you to use while you're in your vehicle. I say get the best camera that you can afford. I know there are different things out there you can buy for like 45, 50 bucks, but honestly, I honestly feel you get what you pay for. And I'm not telling everyone to run out and buy a $400 camera, because not everyone can afford to do that. I'm lucky that, what I do for a living requires me to have these things, so I have made the investment. But buy the best camera that you can find, that you can get. Don't buy the first one you see at Walmart, and in all honesty, I wouldn't buy anything at Walmart. They're just going to be cheap. I don't think they're going to last. I think your best bet is to buy something that's a little bit more substantial, that you feel comfortable spending the money with. I think it's going to do the best job for you. Again, if it doesn't have night vision, it's not a deal breaker. I mean, you have the audio, you hear the conversations, and that's what's going to determine everything. I mean, yes, if somebody gets in a fight in your car, or somebody tries to attack you, you flip that light on, and I mean, you have the whole thing on tape. People know in the Suburban, if they're riding and those lights come on, it's probably because something I don't like and that I don't appreciate, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use that footage if I have to make sure I'm protected. So Christmas time is coming. Ask your family, tell your spouse, just let everybody know, that this is something that protects you. You're a loved one to someone, and they want you to be safe. And if it's going to be your Christmas present to yourself, go out and do your research, find a camera that works for you. Think about where you're going to put it in the car. Do you want to put it on the center dash? Do you want to put it up top? Just keep it out of the way so when you're driving, you're safe. But this, for now, my friends, it paid for itself in that one ride. So just protect yourself, protect your investment, and I hope everyone in the future has the ability to, stop losing rides to Uber, who comes in and takes money without even letting you know, and be able to show them, this is the ride that was in question, and I have footage that shows that I was not at fault. Again, everybody, this is Michael Drummond with Fat Guys Media. Happy holidays to everyone, and we'll talk to you soon.